Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome. My name is Ori and today I'm reviewing Etherstone by Simone Luciani and Virgio Gigli. It's published by Thundergriff Game. I purchased it this year on Spiel, mainly because I wanted to have a different game, a shorter game, a game that's easier to play. Games tend to go on and on these days, making it more difficult with more impactful choices, more complex, and as much as I like those games, sometimes I just like to relax. And I think that's exactly what this game is about. Etherstone is a card game for 2 to 4 players in which you start with a draft, and then you get 7 cards in your hand, and that's it for the entire game. So the entire game plays with 7 cards. It's quite short, about 20 minutes per player. So that means if you have fast people, you can play multiple rounds in an evening. And it's surprisingly fun. The deal with this game is that, and I spoke to the publisher, is that Simone Luciani wanted to do something different. We all know him from all of the Euro games where you have a map that you can walk your dudes on, and there's a way of selecting your actions, and there is points, and then you get points, and then there's contracts. He's done loads of the same games, and he wanted to do something different. He wanted to do card games, and as you know, it's not the only card game he did. He also did Echoes of Time, which is a card game I liked a little bit less. But let's talk about this one. What's the basic premise of this game? So this game is about a living world. They're not done with the game yet. In the base version, or in the first version, there's 4 different suits. I laid them out here. Actually, there's 5. One will stay the same. So you have the Void. These are Luminaries, Whisperers, Exalted, and Limbic. So red, black, green, and white. He wanted to make this a living universe, which means starting this December, I think they're going to have people on the council, and you can vote for the next type of cards that arrive into the game. So it's a community-driven card game that's lighthearted and fun with some pretty decent combos in there. Let's go over the basic mechanics of the game, and it all starts with the draft. So there's a pretty big deck of cards here. I don't know how many there are, but as you can see, quite a few. And the game starts with a draft. In the beginning, you draft 7 cards, and that'll be your hand, and that'll be whatever you play with during this game. So the draft is really important. Next to the draft, you get your leader, which is a card. He's got some hit points, or she's got some hit points, or it's got some hit points. Here, have a look at this leader. Looks quite pretty. So here you can see hit points. Here you can see how much damage the leader does, and this is some ability that he or she or it or whatever it is has. And these are your starting rooms, which I'll explain in a little bit. So you get a leader, and then you draft 7 cards. Here I've played out 5, and I still have 2 in my hand. All right. First, let's just say that you've drafted your hand of cards, which means you have 7 cards in your hands, and that's it. Over the course of the game, there's a couple of actions you can do, and as you do these actions, you'll progress the game, and you eventually hit one of 3 endgame triggers. The purpose is to play out your cards that are worth points and make an army to defend or attack these invaders, what they're called, well, void invaders. These give you a lot of points. As you can see, this is a level 3 void invader. If you destroy it, you get 7 points. It's quite a lot. And they also give you some bonus for destroying them. But attacking void invaders means that your leader takes some damage, and if your leader takes enough damage, you get minus points. So you're gonna have to balance to get some defense and heal your leader. You can see where this goes. Now, another way to score points is to score points in-game. Some characters allow you to take points from this pile. So you can just amass some points and you place them next to your tableau, and voila, they are also counted in the end of the game. And last but not least, you can try and play out your entire hand. Now, in order to play a card from your hand, you need to pay its cost. So over here, this guy costs 6 dark Etherstones. I think that's what they're called. So in order to play this guy from my hand into my tableau, making him active, I need to have a total of 6 of these dark Etherstones. And that's where another action comes into play, which is drafting some of these dice. So in the middle here, there's dice. You have red, black, green, white, and void. I can grab a die, and every time I grab a die of a certain color, I take 2 Etherstones. Now, the fun bit is, if this die was to be, for example, a 2, over here, and I would have this one into play, then you can see on this icon here in the bottom, which means every time I pick a dice at the value of 2, this here ability will trigger, as long as I have this in my tableau. So obviously you will want to build a tableau with certain amounts of numbers on the dice. Pick a die, gain the Etherstones to play a card that you have, and trigger as many abilities from your tableau. The game ends with one of 3 endgame triggers, one being the first person to play all 7 cards on their hand. The other will be if any of these are defeated, there will always be 3, and there's a deck of new ones. And the moment the draw pile is empty, so let's just say there's no draw pile anymore, that's the end of the game as well. And lastly, there is an endgame trigger if all of the points that are here, if all of them have been amassed, then that will end the game as well. It's short and simple, and the power of this game is that it's lighthearted, but there's also amazing combinations to be had here in the draft. So let's head on over to what I think is very good about this game. First off, I really like the artwork. If you do not like this artwork, you know, it could be, it's a little bit macabre at some point, it's a little bit gruesome, but I think Paolo Voto did an amazing job with the artwork. But these cards are just gorgeous. He was also selling his artworks on the Spiel event. I did not buy them because I didn't want to spend too much money. What I like about it is the duration. This is a game you can put on the table pretty much anywhere. I know that me and a friend at Spiel, we went and we wanted to go to Spiel, but first grab a cup of coffee in a coffee cafe. And there was a table about 80 by 80 centimeters, and we could play it. And we ended up going to Spiel about 2 hours after it was open, doing 5 rounds of this game because it's just that addictive. And you can put it on a small table and still have the coffee somewhere. So that's really great. I know that these main feature games take up the entire table. This one stays small. And I think that's a plus. All right, secondly, it's really addictive, and having the draft in the beginning is somewhat exciting. You get to, combine a new hand of 7 cards where you want to get like these insane combos that if you play them, your hand becomes super strong, and you have great ways of defeating these void anomalies or invaders, or just really, pump out a engine that gives you loads of these points. So it's exciting and fresh every time. And I also like the duration. So I think it's nice that it's only 20 minutes per player, so you can do multiple rounds. The actions are quite simple. I play with some people that have a little bit of an AP thing going on. Here, that's not a problem. The actions are simple enough, so you don't really need to get that much AP. Maybe in the draft in the beginning it can be a little bit overwhelming. My advice would be to just draft the ones you think look nice. Don't read into it too much. The first game is over in 25 minutes. Start a new one, then you get the hang of it until you actually know kind of what these cards do, and then you can spend some more time on the draft. That brings me to something that I didn't like about this game, is the fact that the drafting drafting with 2 people is not so great. So we had to devise some ways of making the drafting interesting, because otherwise you'll be back and forthing 7 cards, and basically that makes the draft kind of dull, and it also makes the options a little bit limited. So we found a way where we drafted. We gave both people 4 cards. You take one, you give one to the opponent, and then you throw 2 cards away, and you do that until you have 7. That just opens up options to actually combine cards and get the hand that you want. What I also don't like about this game sometimes is that, and it's in the nature of the game, it can be a little bit swingy. There is some of these voidborns or void creatures, whatever, that are super easy to defeat for some people and very difficult for others, and they just give so much points and propel you throughout the game so fast that I think those are a little bit too unbalanced. But it really depends on what you draft, right? And I think that's the beauty of this game. Again, is that it's lighthearted. It's not a serious game. I don't see people doing competitions in this because it's just a little bit too swingy. But that just makes it fun. And luck is kind of part of this game, what you draft. As far as what I can see others not liking about this game, what shall I say? If you don't like card play, I don't think this game is for you. If you like sort of the more drier Euro style games where you can calculate everything, this game is not for you. There's a little bit of take that in this game. Some of these creatures, for example, this guy, the Mountain Smasher, he makes opponent lose health. So you could potentially build an engine to instead of go for your own victory, make other people's lives as miserable as possible. I can see people not liking that. I thought it was a lot better here than in his other game, Echoes of Time. But still, if you want a little bit more friendly thing, or if you just want to build out your engine and then you start playing a game where people just destroy you, I can see people not liking that. And as I mentioned before, I can see people not liking the artwork on this. And obviously people that don't like to play very complicated games. I think this is lighthearted, but there's still quite some depth to it under the engine. So if you don't like that, if you just want a 1-liter naturally aspirated engine, nothing too fancy, then maybe this game is not for you either. But if you do like the deeper games, especially if you like these big Euros, but you want to do something different, you don't want to spend 4 hours sitting at a table not talking to each other and just crunching your brain, then maybe this game is for you. You can bring it up with you on vacation. Of course, it's in this box, but you could, squish it all down and make it half the size if you want to bring it with you on vacation. And it still provides enough depth and replayability. I, for one, cannot wait for the next iteration with more cards, to try on different strategies. I'm really curious what they come up with. Also really curious what kind of art is going to be added, because I really like the art. If there's ever a display or something, I might get one. And yeah, I think this is a very successful trip into a different style of games by Simone Luciani and Virgio Gigli. So I would love to see him do more different stuff. He's one of my favorite designers, or they are among my favorite designers. And if they can do more like this or totally different things like this, I'm up for it. I think it's exceptionally well done. And I'm curious if you got a copy, what your thoughts on this game are. What you think is good, what you think could be better, or maybe share where you've played this and what your most insane combo of cards was. I would like to know. For now, thank you for watching. This was my review, and I'll see you in the next one.